was west. Trying to remember where the camera is. Sitting out here by my wood stove. We're getting ready to go town and get the stuff to fix the plumbing. And I spoke with a few of the guys around the country about the weather that we had. Anyway, want to thank all my subscribers for checking on me. Thanks for all the prayers and everything. Seriously, I never would have thought that YouTube would be this big a part of my life when I first started this channel. You people really are awesome. But we're going to have a talk in front of the stove. Well, the Mrs. West is getting ready to run to town. So I'm going to take this little bit of time to talk about, I got enough preparedness lessons from the winter storm of February 2021. I mean, and this is the revolting man. He's like, well, it'd be a good topic, because we ran into some stuff. We did not actually weather the storm at our house. We were, there's the train. We were going to try to weather it here, but they kept turning the electricity off. And the first time they turned it off, it froze the water. Okay. When it comes back on, we'll get the water thawed out. It'll be fine. They turned it back on, and then they put out a notice that said they were going to be turning it right back off in another 45 minutes. It's been off for 4 hours. And so the rolling blackouts weren't actually rolling blackouts, for starters. We spent the entire storm with the power off more than it was on here. It had nothing to do with frozen power lines, anything like that. They were just turning our stuff off. So we were burning through our wood faster than we had anticipated. The water was frozen. There was nothing we could do. We actually did everything right. We covered everything up, put the heat lamps on, yada, yada, yada. We learned lesson 1. We are not self-sufficient. We are so dependent on other people to stay alive. It's not even funny. We're going to have to work on that. And I mean pretty hard. There's more to being self-sufficient than being able to live out of your pantry from now on. A lot more. And I'm actually one of the guys that, total grid down thing, a generator is nothing but a liability. I still think that. But we're going to give some serious thought and do some looking about a generator. Had we have had a generator, just one enough to keep the heat lamps and stuff going, the heat for our chickens, the heat for our well house, and enough to run a fan, because this stove will heat up, will keep the house pretty toasty if you can circulate the air. If you can circulate the air, we didn't have no electricity. So there is a place for a generator in our life. Before the storm, you couldn't sell me on one. Gonna look into it. Lesson number 3, you cannot depend on the utility company. The end. They worship the same God everybody else does, the dollar. They had the power, they could have kept us going, but it would have cost them money. The end. We didn't get to keep our power on. Are they going to pay for the repairs to my home? No. Are they going to pay for any of the livestock that died of thirst? No. So, there you go. Lesson number 4. People are important. Our son is on the same part of the grid that the hospital was, so they didn't lose power. They weren't going to lose power. They did turn everything off. They didn't run a light unless they absolutely had to. They had the thermostat setting on 60, I believe, and they ran their fireplace. The ace or the heater didn't kick on much the whole time we were over there. We burned a lot of firewood, but we didn't waste anything. If we hadn't had somebody who had power that we could go to, we wouldn't have died. It would have been miserable because we would have just had to close that door and live in this room because we could keep this room warm. We just couldn't keep it so hot. Lesson 5. This is a big one. Procrastination will kill you. There's things that I knew needed to be done before this winter that I kept thinking, yeah, I got time. Ran out of time. You know something needs to be done. You got a choice between getting it done or going bass fishing. This is coming from me. Get it done. Because tomorrow may be too late. Lesson number 6. Alternate heat is equally as important as your mainstay, your main supply of heat, your everyday. This is how I heat my home. Your what if is just as important. Give just as much thought to what you're going to do if something bad happens. That's one of the procrastination things. Got 2 Dearborns. Should have been able to hook up the Dearborn heaters, keep the house toasty. I didn't do all the things I needed to get it done. Lesson number 7 from this thing. The cities, the way all the rules and stuff are, they can cut us off out here in the country. None of the towns, well, a couple of the smaller ones, they cut them off. But they got some convenient rules that keeps the electricity and stuff going in the towns. Now, Houston and some places like that, they had problems, but that was because they were not prepared for it to be that cold in that part of the world. They weren't ready for it. This was a weird thing. It was a fluke thing. There was no way to prepare for this. There was no way for the utility companies, the state of Texas, crews, there was no, what were we supposed to do? But that's one thing. If you're living rural, you need to be twice as prepared as the guy that's living in the city for everyday stuff like this. Don't be in the city in the major deal because it's going to suck. And it's going to go from, wow, I'm glad I'm in the city to, damn, I wish I hadn't been in the city. And it's not going to happen in like 3 or 4 days. Flat out, that South Texas power plants, they just couldn't deal with this cold. That's about it. That's what we learned. I also learned that your water catchment system, when it gets to -2, not my new one survived, but my old one, my white barrels, my 33-gallon barrels, most of them froze and ruptured. So have some way to keep your water warm in the winter. If it gets too cold, your goldfish will die. Learn that too. Our koi is gone. Our whole aquarium is now a empty tank. Yeah. And something else. This is important. I did learn from this that when it snows and covers everything for days in this white powder, you do find out just exactly how many different cottontails you have on your property. Catch and cook cottontail forthcoming. Get the stuff done. Do the things. It's do the important stuff. That way you're not cussing yourself for wasting a bunch of time. God bless y'all. Y'all stay alive. Don't die.